Welcome back, everybody, to the channel. It's me, Alejandro Mendoza, Ordinary Chicano. Either way, how you say it, it's all good here. And we're back again for another video as we look at another film in my collection. And today, we're going to be talking about the Criterion Collection's release of Jayro Bustamente's La Llorona on Blu-ray. I'm excited, y'all, because this is one of my favorite films from 2020, and I'm glad that it's in the collection, but of course, I hope everyone's having a great day. I hope that everyone is safe, happy, and healthy. I hope that you're enjoying the videos and content. Of course, if you enjoy videos like this or content about physical media, make sure you leave a like on this video. Make sure that you subscribe, and when you're subscribing, make sure you turn on that notification bell so you don't miss a single piece of content that comes to the channel. And of course, if you want to lend an extra helping hand here, you can go over to patreon.com/TheNerdChicano and pledge to one of our tiers. At our lowest tier, you get early access to videos just like this one, and you also get some exclusives on the other tiers to video essays, prints, and stuff like that. But if you're just watching these videos, it's okay. I really appreciate anybody who does anything for the content here. If you watch, if you pledge, it's all good. Either way, let's go ahead and get into today's video. Of course, y'all, this is one of last year's releases. This comes in at spy number 1156, and it is a Guatemalan film from 2019. It was released in the United States in 2020, and it was in my top 10 of 2020 that year. It's one of the best horror films I've ever seen, and also one of the best retellings of this very famous Latin American folktale of La Llorona. It's way better than whatever trash came out in 2019 called The Curse of La Llorona, I will tell you that, because this is one of the definitive versions of it, and I love the political look into La Llorona in this film. But let's go ahead and look at this introduction on the back of the release, and then we're going to look at the packaging. A country's bloody history stains the present in the Guatemalan author Jayro Bustamente's transfixing. My God, they make this font so small and they make it blend in with the gray background. Sorry, y'all. Transfixing fusion of folk horror and searing political controversy, inspired by the real-life indictment of the authoritarian Efraín Rios Montt for crimes against humanity. A notorious, now aging former military dictator stands trial for atrocities committed against Guatemala's Maya communities while battling legal repercussions and the people's demands for justice. He and his family are plagued by a series of increasingly strange and disturbing occurrences, seemingly brought on by an enigmatic new housekeeper, played by Maria Mercedes Corroy, with a restraint that renders the film's shocks. Sorry about that, y'all. This is really bad font size. The film shocks all the more potent. Illustrative, Bustamente crafts a chilling vision of a nation reckoning with collective harms and restless ghosts of a past that refuses to die. That's the introduction. Let's go ahead and look at what is included in this release, if I can manage to read it. 2K digital master approved by director Jayro Bustamente with 5.1 surround DTS HD master audio soundtrack. A new interview with Bustamente. Documentary on the making of the film featuring interviews with cast and crew. Trailer, New English subtitle translation, plus an essay by journalist and novelist Francisco Goldman. So this is the front of the release. It's an amaret. This is the back. This is the spine. And then of course you'll open it up and you have a pamphlet and you have your Blu-ray disc. There's no art in the back, but here you have your pamphlet. I really like the art on this release, y'all. This is the back of that pamphlet. So of course you have the essays in here, and you have special thanks, you have transfer notes and acknowledgments. But they did a really nice job with the art on this one. But yeah, oh, there you go, you can actually fit the whole thing on screen. So I really do like the art that they chose for this. I've got to say that it really fits the film, and props to whoever designed the cover art for this one, because you did a great job on it. But that's the packaging contents for this release of La Llorona on Blu-ray from the Criterion Collection. This is such an interesting retelling of such a famous folktale in my culture, because in any culture you're gonna have this story be told differently. And even in the United States, in Mexico, you, depending on the region you're from, you're gonna get this story told to you differently as well. All of it kind of serves the purpose of trying to scare children, to make sure that they don't go out at night and don't stray from the path of their parents. And of course, it has all of these different uses, but it's such a famous story in my culture that I was interested to see how it would work in the lens of somebody that isn't from the Mexican community. So when I heard about this film, I was really interested in it. Though I had to say my expectations were super low, because I had watched The Curse of La Llorona from Michael Chavez, I think is his name. I thought that movie was despicable. I thought it was terrible. They butchered the story of La Llorona, and they made it out to be this like bastardized view of such a famous folktale, that when I watched this movie, I was left floored. And now on a rewatch, I adore this movie, especially the sort of like cinematography choices that Jayro Bustamente's DP makes in this film. Like, you know, filming in several spaces, tight spaces, using minimal lighting when it comes to these night shots. I gotta say that all of it kind of works together to kind of create this eerie space. But what I think works the most is our screenplay here. Jayro Bustamente's lens of looking at it through a political view of the atrocities committed against the indigenous peoples of Guatemala and the Mayan peoples. You kind of get this really interesting look to why La Llorona is coming after this family, because of course her family has been murdered by this regime, and while he does get indicted on these charges, he gets to live in a luxury home, while the people who he's hurt and the communities he's hurt have to work under him. And it's sort of this like very it's sort of this evil parasitic one-sided relationship that is fueled by his capitalistic gain and imperialistic regime that still has power over these indigenous peoples in the film. And Jayro Bustamente's script is so beautifully written, and it's so eerily directed in a way that it kind of gets under your skin. The only thing I have to complain about is the mixing. I think that some of the mixing is off, and I've got to say that some dialogue was way too low compared to the sound effects and the music. But other than that, y'all, it's a near perfect film. It's one of the best retellings of this folktale. And if I'm gonna be honest, this is at least in the top 25 modern horror films of the last decade, because it is that damn good. And I recommend everybody check out Jayro Bustamente's La Llorona. I believe it's still up on Shudder, and you can also get it to rent on like VOD sites. So if you can find it, watch it, because this is a really, really good movie from a really underrated director. I do need to check out one of his other films, Ishkanul, and I want to go ahead and check out more of his work. But yeah, I really, really like this movie. On a rewatch, it does better, and I've got to say that I'm so happy that it's in the Criterion Collection. Now, let's talk about the restoration. So I watched this on my Panasonic 4K player on a TCL 4K TV. And because this is a Blu-ray disc, I am going to benefit a bit from upscaling, so that resolution was kind of upscaled a bit. I've got to say that this was a pretty good transfer of this film. This is a 2K digital master of this movie, and compared to how I saw it on streaming, it looked fine, it looked really good. But when I put this on my TV and you kind of get that upscaling, it really does bump up the color grading, and it gives you a nice definitive look to the resolution, so it helped out a lot. But I couldn't really pick out anything that was done wrong, and I've got to say that this edition has a really good video transfer. I love the scenes at night and how they are lit, so they come out really well on my TV because of that upscaling. Those flashbacks to the war and the war crimes that are being committed, they look freaking beautiful with the color profiles that they look, even though they are not beautiful things to look at. They're freaking war crimes, right? But you all know what I mean. Transfer wise, they look great, and I've got to say that they put a lot of good work into bringing this film onto physical release, because on streaming sites you're gonna get a compressed look at it, because the way the kind of streaming works is that you're kind of downloading bits and bits and bits during that time, so that way it can play it at a certain quality. Of course, you know, you're getting it in 1080p or 4K, right? But nothing beats it being read straight from the disc and being played on your TV. And I've got to say that the video quality looks great. I couldn't find anything wrong with it, and it is a great 2K digital master. Now, of course, as I've said, the audio mixing is kind of off, and some stuff sounds pretty low, some stuff sounds really, really loud. But I gotta say, for a audio transfer, they didn't do a terrible job. They did a good job at being able to bring out a good audio quality. I just wish that they would have mixed it better when they were making the movie. But from what I could hear, there wasn't anything bad about it. They didn't just, they obviously didn't do like extensive work on the restoration, because this is of course already been made. It's not an old film. There's nothing really wrong with it that needed to be corrected. It's just what was shot and what was mixed. So overall, the audio quality isn't terrible. It's just a mixing problem when they made the film. But for a release from the Criterion Collection, and because I just paid $20 for this on a sale, I gotta say that I'm highly satisfied with this release of La Llorona. I'm going to be rewatching this every October for sure, and I'm just happy that this film is available on physical, because I really liked this film in 2020, and in 2022 when I rewatched this, I loved it even more. So I highly recommend the Criterion Collection's release of Jayro Bustamente's La Llorona. Of course, if you want to keep up to date with me on all things social media, follow me on Twitter, Instagram, Letterboxd, Serialized, TikTok, and Twitch at the Nerdy Chicano. I'm the same handle on all of them. You're not gonna miss me. Just type in that handle to whatever you're looking me up on, and I'll be there. Check out what we're doing on the Nerdcore, like our podcast reviews, our interviews, our watch-alongs, our commentaries, all those wonderful stuff by going to nerdcore.com or checking us out on YouTube and on Twitch at the Nerdcore. We're the same handle on both of those websites. Of course, next week we're going to go ahead and continue on with some more reviews, but in the meantime, my wonderful cinephiles and renowned scholars, celebrate the love of cinema today, tomorrow, and every day after. Catch you all on the next one, guys. Bye-bye.